At Christmas dinner, Grandpa asked, "Did you enjoy our new home?" I never expected their reaction. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. The laughter blended with the scent of cinnamon and pine, filling the air like a cozy blanket wrapped around us. Grandma's smile was brighter than the twinkling lights adorning the tree. I had never felt so at home until that moment. Everyone was gathered around the table, just like I had pictured it so many times before. The turkey, golden and glistening. The cranberry sauce, bright and tart. My little brother, Max, was giggling, making faces at the peas he refused to eat. It was perfection, or so I thought. Then, Grandpa's voice cut through the chatter, low and steady. "Did you enjoy our new home?" he asked, his gray eyes gleaming with pride. An innocent question that sent a wave of eeriness through the room. The moment hung there, suspended in the air like a heavy fog. The laughter died immediately, replaced by a thick silence. Their faces turned pale. Mom's hand trembled as she reached for her glass, fingers shaking like leaves in the wind. Dad's jaw tightened, and his eyes darted around as if searching for an escape. I caught a glimpse of Max's bewilderment, his laughter fading into confusion. I looked around the table. Uncle Pete's brows furrowed deeply, his voice momentarily abandoned. "Why would you ask that?" he finally muttered, breaking the stillness. His words echoed, heavy with dread. A chill ran down my spine. Suddenly, Grandma stood, her expression morphing from warmth to a rare sharpness. "You shouldn't talk about the house, dear. It brings back painful memories," she whispered, her voice trembling. The look on her face was foreign, like a mask that had slipped, revealing something darker beneath. I felt sick, my stomach twisting. I wanted to know what haunted our new home. Was there something lurking behind those faded walls? An old photograph clutched by a trembling hand, whispering secrets I couldn't grasp. The energy in the room shifted, heavy with unspoken fears, and I was left standing at the edge, desperate for answers. What had I stumbled into? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The days following that Christmas dinner felt like navigating through a dense fog. The warmth of the holiday spirit evaporated, replaced by a palpable tension that hung heavy in the air. I spent hours replaying Grandpa's question in my mind, tracing the lines of confusion and fear on my family's faces. Each time I thought about it, the questions multiplied, forming a relentless cycle of dread that in the weeks that followed, I noticed strange things about the house. Late at night, creaking floorboards would echo through the dark, a sound that hadn't bothered me before. Max began talking about the friend he saw standing in the hallway, a shadow that danced just beyond his sight, but no one ever believed him. I watched my parents try to dismiss his imagination, but deep down, I sensed their unease. One gray afternoon, while rummaging through an old box in the attic left behind by the previous owners, I assumed I felt my heart race. There were stacks of yellowed letters bound with twine, faded photographs, and a collection of dusty trinkets that seemed to whisper of past lives. I picked up a brittle envelope, its edges curling like the wings of a tired butterfly. Without thinking, I tore it open, and my fingers brushed over the delicate paper inside. As I read the words penned long ago, my excitement turned to dread. It spoke of loss, of a family driven apart by secrets and sorrow, all linked to this very house. The final line sent shivers down my spine: "We left because it became too painful to stay." I clutched the letter to my chest, feeling like an intruder in a narrative that was not mine to claim. The next day, I confronted Grandpa. He had been avoiding my gaze since that dreadful dinner, and today, the way he hesitated to answer my questions only seemed to confirm my deepest fears. "Why don't you tell me about the memories, Grandpa?" I pressed, my voice steady but my heart racing. What's wrong with this house? His expression changed, a softness wrapped in sorrow crossed his features as he took a deep breath, a lifetime of memories weighing heavily upon him. Some things are better left unspoken, Elise. His voice trembled slightly, making me wonder if perhaps he was as terrified as I was. We're just trying to keep you safe from things you don't understand. That I felt anger boiling beneath my skin. Was I a child, unable to handle the truth? But I deserve to know. Don't you see? You're hiding something, and it's making all of us unsettled. Can't you just tell me what happened? He looked away, lost in a sea of memories, and for a moment, all I could see was his grief. The distance between us felt insurmountable, like a chasm filled with years of untold stories. Some stories hold scars that are deep, Elise. They don't fade easily. As his words sank in, I resolved to uncover the truth. I needed to know what had tainted our home, what ghosts were simmering beneath the surface. That night, as I lay in bed, I could hear the soft rustling of leaves outside, the wind whispering secrets I felt too afraid to grasp, but with my fears came something unexpected, an urge to fight back, to shine a light in the shadows. Perhaps revelations awaited, and it was time for them to be seen, yet, just as the flicker of hope ignited within me, a crashing noise echoed from the attic. I leapt from my bed, heart pounding, and dashed upstairs. The door creaked open, and there, on the floorboards, lay the remains of the trinkets I had viewed only hours earlier, scattered like lost dreams. My breath caught in my throat as I noticed something amidst the chaos, a figure standing at the edge of the dim light, obscured by the shadows. Who's there? I called out, the uncertainty of my voice carrying tremors of fear. The figure stepped forward, and my heart raced at the sight of Max, pale and wide-eyed. Elise, I think I saw him again, he whispered urgently. The friend, he wants to talk to you. And just like that, the realization washed over me. The unseen specters of our new home were coming alive, and the true story was only just beginning to unfurl. The air in the attic crackled with an unspoken tension, heavy and ominous. I crouched beside Max, the shadows dancing around us like lost souls. What do you mean he wants to talk to me? I asked, the question tremulous on my lips. My heart raced, caught in the whirlwind of fear and intrigue. That I don't know. He just said your name, Elise, Max replied, his voice barely above a whisper. His eyes darted nervously around the room, as though he expected the figure to appear at any moment. I don't think he's bad. He seemed sad. The word echoed in the stillness. My mind teetered on the edge of disbelief, yet the mounting evidence of our home's secrets urged me forward. Something palpable lingered in the air, an energy that felt both unsettling and oddly inviting. Without another thought, I laced my fingers through Max's. We have to find out more. Where did you see him? Max stood, trembling slightly. In the corner over there. He pointed, his gaze fixed on the darkened spot that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. As I moved closer, I sensed a shift in the atmosphere, an electrifying warmth mingling with the cold dread. Stay close, I urged, feeling the weight of responsibility press against my chest. We crept forward, the floor creaking beneath our careful steps. I took a deep breath and asked, is anyone there? My voice strung across the silence, and for a moment, even the shadows seemed to hold their breath. A shiver ran down my spine, fueled by a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. I half expected some sort of response, a flicker of movement, a whisper in the wind. But nothing happened, just an unsettling calm hanging in the air. It felt like standing on a precipice, teetering on the edge of the unknown. Maybe he's not here anymore, I said, trying to ease the tension that had settled over both of us. Let's go back. As we turned to leave, an unexpected warmth washed over us, like the comforting glow of sunlight filtering through clouds. I glanced back, fraught with uncertainty, and froze. A fleeting glimpse, a shadow darting from the corner of my eye, almost startled, leaving behind a faint whisper that wrapped around my senses. It was a name, my name. Did you hear that? I gasped, spinning toward Max. His eyes were wide, reflecting both fear and wide-eyed wonder. He nodded slowly. It said Elise. His voice had turned small, fragile. A rush of adrenaline surged through me, igniting a spark of courage that surged past the fear woven deep within me. "We have to figure this out," I said, the resolve anchoring my scattered thoughts. "There's something important here." I pulled Max close. "Let's search through those letters tomorrow," I suggested, turning back to the attic door. "Maybe they can help us understand." As we started down the staircase, I sensed a gentle breeze sweeping through, brushing softly against my skin. I paused at the last step, glancing back into the murky darkness of the attic. I felt a flicker of hope. If the past was trying to reach us, then perhaps the shadows hid kindness wrapped inside their burdens. That night, sleep eluded me. I lay in bed, heart thumping loudly as if trying to break free of the chaotic silence that enveloped us. Max's slow breathing, steady and comforting, lulled me into a restless haze, filled with fragments of whispers and shadows. Suddenly, a soft thud echoed from beneath my window. I jolted upright, the protective instinct surging through me as I approached the curtain and peered outside. The moon cast a glow over the yard, illuminating the trees swaying gently. But there, on the edge of the light, stood a figure shrouded in darkness, watching, waiting. My heart raced anew, fear clawing at my insides as I stared into the night. Just when I thought I might cry out, the figure stepped into the moonlight, revealing a familiar face that sent a chill up my spine. The last person I expected to see, Grandpa, but he looked different, younger, his eyes filled with a haunting glimmer of recognition. And then he raised his hand, gesturing towards something behind him. Something profound lurked in that invitation, a tension between fear and potential realization. "Elise," he said, his voice echoing softly in the night air, sounding not like the frail man I knew, but as if he had stepped through time, burdened by voices long silenced. "You need to come with me. It's time to face the truth." My breath caught in my throat, the implications of his words crashing over me like a wave. As a myriad of emotions coursed through me, fear, confusion, but also an undeniable pull toward understanding, I hesitated at the threshold, teetering between the safety of what I knew and the abyss of the unknown. "Will you?" he urged gently, and his eyes held the weight of a lifetime of secrets, ready to unveil their hidden truths. In that moment, the world outside felt alive with possibility, and the distant whispers from the attic pressed down on my heart, begging for resolution. But to take that step forward meant embracing the storm of emotions and revelations lying in wait. I knew, then, that my journey was only just beginning, and the path ahead twisted with shadows deeper than I had ever imagined. Where would it lead me? My pulse quickened at the thought, and as I opened the door, the haunting mystery waiting for me was now intertwined with sunsets and promises of dawn. The chill in the air cut through me as I hesitated on the threshold, the darkness beckoning with an urgency I could hardly explain. My grandfather's figure stood there, illuminated by that silver light, a beacon and an enigma simultaneously. The weight of his words hung heavy, and I felt the pull of destiny tugging at me, as powerful as the whispers from the attic. "Are you really?" I stammered, confusion laced with disbelief. "How is this possible?" His expression softened, an amalgamation of love and sadness. "I've been waiting for you to discover what's hidden in those walls. The memories are lost but not forgotten. The only way to heal is to know that." I opened my mouth to protest, my brain racing with questions each more desperate than the last, but all I found was silence. My pulse quickened, anticipation and dread colliding within me. I looked back at Max, who peered curiously through the curtain, his small body tense with uncertainty. I could feel the tug-of-war inside me, the desire to know more battling the instinct to protect myself and those I loved. "Will Max come too?" I asked, the words flowing with the instinct to safeguard him from whatever lay beyond this moment. The shadows loomed larger than ever, threatening to swallow my resolve. Grandpa smiled gently, a flicker of the man I once knew peeking through the ghost of his youthful visage. "He should, if he wishes to understand. This concerns both of you." Max stepped into the moonlight, brushing his hair back with a trembling hand. "Elise, I want to go. I have to know what's happening." His voice, though small, was edged with the kind of bravery that only the innocent possess. Facing Grandpa once more, I nodded, surrendering to the intertwining threads of fate. "All right. Well, follow you." Grandpa gestured toward the shadows in the yard, and I felt a shiver ripple through me, the air thickening with the weight of unspoken truths. We stepped out of the house, and with each step, the chill of the night felt warmer, wrapping around us like an embrace. "Follow closely," Grandpa said, leading us deeper into the trees that bordered our property. The branches cast elongated shapes against the ground, their gnarled forms reminiscent of the tangled emotions within me. Silence enveloped us, but beneath it, a symphony of rustling leaves and distant calls of nocturnal creatures added an uncanny harmony to our journey. "How did you?" I began, but he halted, raising a hand to silence my inquiry. "There are things here that are beyond explanation, Elise. However, they yearn to be heard, and to do that, we must reach the heart of the past." As we moved forward, the path narrowed, and my gaze shifted, catching sight of an old stone well standing lonely beneath the pale light. It was covered in vines, and yet a flicker of something familiar stirred within me, a connection to an episode long buried in my childhood memories, a story my parents had shared over candlelit dinners that now felt miles away. "Here," Grandpa said, stopping before the well. His voice dropped to a whisper, reverence blending with urgency. "This is where the truth will emerge, if you're willing to delve." Taking a step closer, he lifted a hand, gesturing for me to peer inside. My heart raced. In that moment, it felt like the world spun away, leaving me suspended between two realms. All the glimmering possibilities before me and the haunting shadows behind threatened to collide. I dared to lean over the well's edge, my breath hitching as darkness enveloped my view. "Elise, don't," Max exclaimed, grabbing my shirt to pull me back, but the echoing call of danger was drowned out by the pull of the unknown. "Listen," Grandpa instructed, his voice urging me into the silence. I strained to hear, my heart pounding as fragments of whispers drifted up from the depths, words coalescing from a language I couldn't comprehend but felt inherently in my bones. In that moment, the air shifted, a sharp gust swirling with voices from the past, heavy with secrets and sorrow. I felt a single tear slide down my cheek, that essence of truth tinged with loss. All at once, I understood, this was not merely my story, it belonged to generations before me, echoing through the essence of our family. "Remember," Grandpa implored, his eyes piercing through the veil of time. "What comes next will change everything. Stay together." The whispers cascaded into an unrecognizable symphony, growing louder, surrounding us with an urgency that felt almost alive. And just as I sensed the first thread of comprehension, Max grabbed my arm, his grip tight with fear. "What is this place?" he whispered, and my heart sank. His innocent face mirrored the turmoil within me, and for the first time, doubt crept into my resolve. Before I could answer, the wind howled ferociously around us, swirling leaves and despair. Right as a voice broke through the chaos, a name, startlingly familiar just as night turned to dawn, a name that rocked me to my core, and with it, the weight of looming consequences hung like a shroud between us. "Elise." It echoed into the night, and I knew then that every choice I made would fracture the lines of our lives in ways I could never begin to fathom. My breath caught in my throat as I realized that the past was not merely behind us, it was intricately woven into the fragile fabric of our future. And then the darkness loomed once more, as shadows flickered at the edge of our vision, an invitation cloaked in uncertainty. The darkness was pressing down on my chest like the weight of unanswered questions. Grandpa's face was almost lost beneath the swirling chaos around us, as if he were a ghost caught between realms, tethered solely by the thin thread of memory. I could hear my own heartbeat, frantically urging me to flee, but where would we even go? We had ventured into the unknown, the kind of territory that held both potential and peril, and in that moment, escaping back to the familiar felt as impossible as stopping time. "Grandpa, what do you want us to do?" My voice emerged softer than I intended, tremors of anxiety lacing through my words. That he took a deep breath, his expression shifting into a mask of resolve. "Listen closely," he urged, reaching for my hand. His grip was cool but reassuring. "What you hear is the past wrestling for the light. We must confront it." Max, still clutching my shirt, looked up at me with wide eyes. I saw the tumult of emotions swirling within him: fear, curiosity, apprehension, a maelstrom of innocence confronted with layered complexities. I knelt beside him, weaving my fingers through his small, uncertain hand. "It's okay, I promise we'll get through this together," I whispered. In that instant, I sought to be his anchor, wherever this journey might lead us. Grandpa turned his gaze to the well, his features clouded with a mix of determination and reflection. This well is more than stone. It holds fragments of our family history, echoes of joy and sorrow woven together. Are you prepared to hear their stories? With a shared nod, we inched closer, drawn like moths to the flame. I remembered tales my mother had spun, tales of ancestors long gone whose lives painted the walls of our home in kindness and hardship alike. The whispers morphed once more, surging from the depths, carrying the weight of moments lost in the folds of time. Be brave, Grandpa whispered, and in his tone, I found a flicker of strength. I leaned over the well, willing myself to listen, to embrace whatever revelations lay waiting. The whispers melded into an almost coherent narrative, stories of heartbreak spanning decades, of love lost and hope rekindled. Snippets of conversations floated up like autumn leaves caught in a breeze, tales of warmth mingling with shadows. Josefina, a voice called out, wrapped in the frost of memories. You left too soon. The name struck deep within me, a chord reverberating in the very fabric of my being. Was she my ancestor? What had her story been? I recalled the photographs lining our walls, a woman, delicate but steadfast in her gaze. The woman was not just a face in a frame, she was a link in our family chain, one of many who had danced through the light and darkness. Who was she? My question slipped out, almost a prayer, as urgency twisted around my thoughts. She had the courage of lions, Grandpa replied, his misty eyes glistening. But like many, she was chased by secrets that burdened the heart. As the whispers crescendoed, the revelation surged within me that this was far more than a story of victims, it was a tapestry of resilience, woven by those who had faced adversities that would have broken lesser spirits. Our family had survived, endured, thrived against the odds, and then, as if a jar had been opened, a flood of emotions surged through me, each whisper becoming a vivid tableau of lives lived, and I felt fragile threads of connection crisscrossing through the dark mantle of night. But even in the midst of understanding, shadows loomed larger. A chilling thought threaded itself into my heart: if this well held secrets, who dictated which truths would emerge? Who would be the protagonist, and who the casualty? No. Max gasped suddenly, pulling sharply on my hand. What is it? I turned to see his face pale, dread etched in his brow. It's coming. His voice trembled, panic washing over him as he pointed toward the trees. My breath caught as I turned to follow his gaze, dread freezing me in place. From amongst the trees, shadows began to detach, forming shapes that flickered with an unsettling charge. They didn't belong, yet their very essence whispered of familiarity. Figures emerging from the night wore the facades of family members I had cherished, long gone yet somehow tangible in their presence. Stay close. Grandpa shouted, taking his place in front of us, his own unease stark as he strained to recognize the advancing shadows. They advanced, weaving in and out of the moonlight, and I felt a tug deep within, an acknowledgement that the stories wouldn't remain confined to the past any longer. Just then an anguished cry broke through the air, sending a shiver down my spine. Elise. The name echoed once more, urgent and desperate, reverberating against the heart of the night. This time, it wasn't just a whisper, it emanated from the shadows themselves. In that moment of paralyzing fear filled with foreboding, a vulnerable truth dawned on me: the past didn't just want to be uncovered, it demanded to be confronted, and we were tangled in the web of its emergence. The shadows pressed closer, fear igniting in me, but even as dread consumed the air, there was that flickering ember of hope. We were not alone, we had each other. Max, hold on. My voice broke, but with determination, I pulled him closer as I let Grandpa guide us through the swirling grasp of memories demanding their stage. Together, we would face whatever truth awaited in the heart of the past. Then, in a flash, the world dimmed, swallowed by the encroaching dark. And as my heart raced, I felt the ground shift beneath me, urging me forward into the realm of the unknown, into the stories I had yet to uncover. But this chapter of our lives was not yet finished. As the shadows came to life, a revelation pulsated through me, mingling with fear and hope, an unfulfilled promise waiting just beyond the horizon, unearthing a truth that would forever alter the fabric of our existence. As the gloom thickened, the dim shapes lingered, ebbing and flowing like tendrils of smoke that coiled around our feet. Max hid behind my leg, his small body trembling, and I could feel his heart racing in sync with my own. Each echoing name belonged to a memory that sought recognition. The shadows danced closer, made tangible by the call of forgotten names and unresolved stories. "Please, let it be a misunderstanding," I murmured, unwilling to acknowledge the threat that stung at our corners. Grandpa held his ground, his expression a curious mix of determination and sorrow as he peered into the uncertainty ahead. "Remember, my children," he said, voice steady amidst the panic. "These specters aren't here to harm. They wish for connection, for understanding. They are fragments of our past, perhaps even bearers of wisdom." A shadow shifted into a flickering form that mimicked my mother, her features softened by time yet unmistakable. "Elise," it repeated, the name laden with an unspoken weight, and for a heart-stopping moment, I saw the curve of her smile, the gentle warmth of her embrace. A ripple of longing tugged at my core. I hadn't realized how deeply I missed her until now. "Mom," I whispered, reaching out instinctively. But my fingers met only shadows, cold and elusive. "Look beyond what is in front of you," another figure urged, its voice wrapped in a haze of distress. It was Anna, my late aunt, the spirited one who had always encouraged me to chase my dreams. "The truth is complex, far more intricate than what you believe. You must listen." As each element around us stirred a cacophony of hesitant truths and buried emotions, I felt the air thicken with urgency. It was as if time itself was standing still, demanding that I confront not only the shadows of our family but the ghost of my own fears rising to the surface. "Remember our family gatherings," the voice of Grandpa resonated through the frenzy, drawing us back to moments that glimmered with warmth amid the encroaching darkness. "Remember the laughter, the stories shared, the love that connected us, like Christmas dinner," I replied softly, a thread of comfort weaving through my thoughts. My thoughts fluttered to the last gathering, the aroma of roasted turkey mingling with the sound of joyous chatter. What had it meant to come together, to share not just in abundance but also burdens? Max squeezed my hand, still frightened yet curious. "Do you think they're trying to tell us something?" His voice shook slightly, the childlike innocence gripping me once more. "I think they are," I nodded, my heart swelling with a sense of responsibility, ignited by hope. "They want us to remember how we survived the storm. They want us to find meaning in their stories." Then, a sharp gasp rang out from the shadows, the air saturated with an urgency that made my skin crawl. "You cannot ignore the dark," another echoing voice scolded, sorrowful yet insistent. "You must bear witness to the truth, or it will devour you whole." "What truth?" I called toward the shadows, stricken with the weight of my own vulnerability. "What more do you want from us?" The echoes swirled violently as one shadow peeled away from the rest, revealing the familiar outline of my grandparents' home, now cloaked in a void. Emotion surged within Mesharp, insistent, demanding to be felt. I realized that the home we cherished, once filled with laughter and warmth, was aching under the weight of secrets kept too long. "Did you enjoy our new home?" The voice of my grandpa echoed, and it felt like the earth had dropped away beneath my feet. His tone carried a gravity I had never sensed before, woven with threads of pain and longing. "Do we even know what home means to us anymore?" With growing trepidation, I took a step forward, determined to reclaim the narrative instead of remaining a passive observer. "I loved it. But there's something more. Something we're not addressing. We are afraid to face what's behind the walls." I shouted towards the shadows, my own voice a bellowing defiance against the shroud of despair gathering. "If you want us to truly understand, then let us face the truth together." The shadows halted, momentarily suspended in an eerie stillness, and suddenly the atmosphere shifted, a collective releasing of pent-up breath. The silhouettes pivoted, almost as if the collective memories paused in unison to weigh my words. Max clung even tighter to me, burying his face against my leg. "What if they don't like what we find?" he whispered, vulnerability coloring his tone. "They will," I asserted, though tremors of doubt thrummed in the back of my mind. "If we face this together, we will emerge stronger. I promise you." And just like that, an intimate silence enveloped us, and I felt the remnants of our family history gathering close, yearning for acknowledgement. The darkness didn't subside, yet the shadows shivered with the promise of understanding. Then the wall of darkness split open, revealing a glimpse of light, but it wasn't the reassuring glow I longed for. Instead, it revealed a latently creeping dread as echoes of long-buried resentment resurfaced, merging with the fabric of our reality. Ahead, near the boundary between shadow and illumination, something stirred, a figure cloaked in the remnants of memory. Deep within, a revelation coiled, wrapping around my heart with icy fingers. The figure wielded both fear and familiarity. With a sudden rush, the truth devoured my breaths like a thief in the night, a truth that could irrevocably alter not just our understanding of family but also challenge the notion of home itself. The pulse in my chest quickened, a warning that something vast, dark, and immeasurably poignant was approaching. Whatever lay hidden, whatever secrets had lingered in that well, were now surfacing and demanding their reckoning. As I stood on the precipice of this revelation, a singular thought pierced through the fog: if I could unearth the past, could I also change its hold on our future? The atmosphere thickened, and the unsettling energy crackled like static in the air. My heart raced as the figure materialized in the faint light, its outline pulsing with the memories of those we had lost. Each flicker sent a fresh wave of trepidation through me, mingling with an undeniable thread of hope. Yet, the weight of uncertainty bore down like a leaden fog, urging me to retreat. Do you see it? A voice broke through my frozen thoughts, warm yet penetrating. It was Anna's, echoing across realms of despair and yearning. Everything you've hidden away, those thoughts you dare not say out loud, this is where they live. Here lies the source of the storm you thought you contained. Memories spiraled around us, tender yet haunting, revealing glimpses of laughter intertwined with loss. My mother's face twisted into a blend of joy and sorrow, a vivid testament to the complexity of our existence. Elise, she echoed softly, sending chills down my spine. Do you remember the day we moved in? The joy of new beginnings. Have you preserved that part of it, or has the painful shadow overshadowed it? I wanted to scream that I had recalled every detail of that day, how the world had sparkled in our excitement. But the truth hovered just below the surface, like a truth marred by silent resentments that trickled through our family over the years. My voice trembled as I sought clarity. I remember the happiness. But we've all felt the ache since. What emerged next from the dissipating shadow was the face of my father, his expression a stark reminder of the unresolved conflict that rippled through our family long before he was gone. You hide from what you fear because you believe it will hurt you, he said, his presence a balm and a dagger simultaneously. But hiding only festers despair. The real hurt lies in the silence, the secrets bred in shame. Max whimpered behind me, confused and frightened. I leaned down to reassure him. It's okay, buddy. They're here to help us see, I whispered, though I wasn't sure I believed it myself. I felt Max's small body pressed against mine, a tether to the innocence we were all desperate to protect, and yet, the shadows pulsated ominously, a darkness that danced around the edges of my understanding, whispering of betrayal and heartache. Did you truly believe the pain could be swept under the rug? The united chorus of specters questioned, igniting a flicker of fear within me. How many truths have you buried to maintain the facade of happiness? A sudden anger surged within my chest, igniting a fire that I didn't want to extinguish. We loved each other. I cried out, my grief morphing into fury as I battled against the darkness. We shared what was good. We celebrated birthdays. We laughed. We reshoved the hard truths aside. Yes, but is that truly a crime? The figures shifted closer, merging into a vortex of anguish. You think you erased them, but they linger in your shadows. You must embrace them or be consumed. Each word struck like a hammer, resonating deeply within my soul. Tell us the truth, Max pleaded, his little voice both innocent and piercing, unraveling the very fabric that sustained my bravado. What do we need to know? The shadows coalesced into one formidable mass, revealing something between worlds, something far darker than I had expected. You are not simply haunted by the past, my mother's figure whispered, her tone now edged with urgency. You have inherited burdens, secrets that were never meant to be hidden, and they don't belong only to those who are no longer here. They belong to you, too. Like ripples on a pond, their words echoed in my mind, filling me with understanding and dread. I hadn't imagined the pain could be mine to bear, too, a legacy passed through generations. The weight settled heavily on my shoulders. I finally recognized what I had unconsciously avoided, but why? I trembled, my voice cracking. Why now? Why us? Suddenly, the air shifted with a jolt, and the shadows began to twist and turn, weaving a tapestry of memories that I had long evaded. Each thread moved with its own heartbeat, a menagerie of our family's history, rich with love yet marred by whispered secrets that I felt a sense of loss wash over me, a deep sorrow for the burdens we all carried. You must gather the strength to confront them, my father's voice urged, revealing clarity amid chaos. Only by acknowledging the truth can we hope to heal. Before I could fully grasp their intention, a sharp chill filled the air where warmth once resided. An unexpected sound, foreign yet visceral, rumbled from the periphery, a sound that shook the very foundation of the shadows swirling around us. The silhouettes froze, and an electric anticipation surged through my veins. What was that? Max gasped, staring wide-eyed into the lurking uncertainty. And just as the ominous silence deepened, the shadowed wall peeled back once more, and lurking beneath the layers of memory, a figure broke free. Its presence crackled like a wildfire, raw and visceral, a stranger cloaked in familiarity and mystery, eyes glimmering with cold intensity. Panic ignited within me. Who are you? I managed to breathe as my heartbeat thudded in my ears. My heart sank. Could this ominous figure be the very embodiment of everything we had tried to suppress, a ghost of conflict that threatened to unravel our already fragile understanding? The figure stepped forward, their voice smooth yet jagged. Now, little family, you didn't truly think you could face the past without me, did you? The shadows quaked as they spoke, and my breath caught in my throat. The truth I had sought for so long was now so dangerously close yet completely elusive. Something deep within me clamored for a fight. I felt a rush of warmth flare up, a flicker of hope in the swirling storm. Buried within my chest, a single thought roared to life: we could still reclaim our narrative, even if the truth demanded our tears. But as the chilling figure stood tall, daring us to confront the reality woven through our distinct stories, I realized that the road ahead had only just begun to unfold. The darkness lingered, and I could only hope that amid the shadows, a glimmer of ancestral love would light our way to understanding and healing. The weight of the unknown hung heavily as I stared into the face of the dark figure, an amalgam of dread and determination clashing within me. With every breath, the past loomed closer, and an unsettling feeling churned in my gut as if it were an uninvited guest at our fragile gathering. Who are you? I pressed, a tremor betraying my desperate attempt to project strength. The questions whirled in my mind like autumn leaves caught in a whirlwind. Was this figure a remnant of my family's buried secrets, something that had slumbered and was now shaking its chains free? An old friend, the figure replied, its voice a dissonant melody haunting my senses. One who has walked the corridors of your family history, through laughter and tears, through joy and devastation. I am what remains when you allow the past to fester. Max looked up at me, his wide eyes betraying a blend of confusion and fear. I felt paralyzed, a wave of protectiveness surging as I crouched beside him. You don't have to be afraid, buddy, I whispered, although my heart raced wildly. The air around us was charged, a queasy concoction of fear and unresolved emotion. Fear? The figure teased, eyes glinting like shards of glass. Ah, fear is merely a shadow cast by the truths you dare not confront. Your family has built walls against it. You've hidden behind laughter and warmth, but secrets are tenacious little creatures. They seep through the cracks, nestling into your very souls that I swallowed hard, struggling against the truth that churned within me. We're not afraid. We've had our laughter. We've shared our love, I stammered, each word feeling like a meager attempt to bridge the widening divide. Is that so? Then why are you trembling? The figure stepped closer, and the shadows swirled around it like a tempest, wrapping its tendrils around the edges of my consciousness. Why do you cling to a facade built on silence? Why do you shield your heart from the whispers of those who once loved you? Suddenly, the flicker of hope within me sparked into a vibrant flame. Because it's easier, I shot back, anger bubbling to the surface. It's easier than facing the ruin of everything we used to be. You think I don't want to confront the past? You think I haven't tried? A laugh, low and riddled with sorrow, reverberated through the space, causing the air to quiver. Oh, but it is your past you must embrace. Only by accepting what lies within you can you ever hope to heal. Max's small hand reached for mine, shaking slightly, grounding me in a moment that felt laden with significance. What does it mean to heal? He asked softly, looking from the figure back to me. Isn't that what you've been searching for? The figure challenged, tilting its head with an air of deceptive calm. You want to feel whole again, don't you? But for that, you must open the gates of memory. You must tell him it pointed toward me, the truth. My heart pounded, the weight of inevitability tugging on my soul. What truth? I murmured, my voice breaking under the strain. I could feel each unspoken word pressing against the walls I had constructed. But as if reading my mind, the figure stepped even closer, illuminating a path both perilous and inviting. Your grandfather's Christmas dinner is where it begins. A gathering cloaked in memories, where laughter reigned. Instead, what should have blossomed into joy gave rise to a quagmire of buried resentment and heartache. Was it not there that you exchanged glances with those who dared not speak, as the figure's words hung in the air like sirens, shards of memory pierced through the haze, recalling a time when family gatherings felt like stepping onto a battleground veiled in merriment? The slight tensions, the hushed whispers exchanged by my parents when they thought I could not hear, the lingering glances that betrayed a deeper discomfort, a melange of yearning moments blurred by persistent shadows that I drew a shaky breath, the resolve within me growing stronger. I've always known something was there, I confessed, my voice scarcely above a whisper. But the laughter felt more comfortable than facing. The pain lying beneath, then reclaim the laughter, Elise, the figure urged, the shadows quaking at its feet, mirroring my restless heart. Face it all, what was said, what was unsaid, and you just might discover that healing lies within the truths that have been mingling with the joy. Before I could respond, the atmosphere shifted again, an incoherence sparkling on the edge of perception. Something stirred within me, an understanding that maybe I didn't have to confront the darkness alone. Perhaps it was not just about echoes of the past but also about cultivating a more profound connection with the present. As I locked eyes with Max, who had now grown more vibrant amidst the tension, his bravery inspired something in me. I felt the spark of hope ignite anew. We can do this together, right, Max? I asked, needing his reassurance. He nodded, his brow furrowed yet resolute. Together, he echoed, and in that moment, I felt a promise unfurl, a chance to finally untangle the knots forged by unacknowledged pain. But just as a sense of unity began to take hold, a rumble erupted once again, louder this time, shaking the intertwined shadows threatening to envelop us. The figures of my family wavered, their expressions shifting, hope morphing into dread, love into concern. Do you think you can gather the strength without the truth? The strident voice of the figure growled, its smile widening unnaturally, hinting at something darker. Without confronting your grandfather, in horror, I realized what awaited us. The past was not simply waiting to be revealed, it was about to charge forward, demanding to be faced, and I could feel the ground shifting beneath our feet, an unsettling harbinger that echoed my internal tumult. Max, I started, my voice trembling as an avalanche of uncertainty closed in. We may have to face more than just the echoes of laughter, but before I could finish, a wave of memories surged forward, and the darkness pulsed, setting the stage for a confrontation I had both feared and longed for. The shadows wheeled about, streaked with flashes of warmth and sorrow, and I knew that this wasn't just about truth anymore. It was about breaking chains, unveiling hidden depths, and revealing, at long last, the secrets that would forever alter our family. As the figure laughed again, a sonorous echo that sent chills racing through me, the realization struck anew, we were standing at the brink of not just salvaging the past but redefining our future. And in that moment of perilous uncertainty, I knew that the heart of our journey had truly begun. In the heart of an unbidden storm, my sister's laughter echoed brightly in my mind, juxtaposing the dark figure before us with memories that felt as reliable as the earth beneath my feet. I could almost see her, eyes sparkling as she wrapped her arms around our mother, sharing secrets only they understood. But those moments felt achingly far now, tainted by the shadows threatening to unravel the tapestry of our family's past. Max, we have to be brave, I said, meeting his gaze which flickered with uncertainty, a reflection of my own fears. He squeezed my hand tightly, and I could feel the pulse of a shared determination beating between us. Slowly, the figure dissolved into a wave of black mist, coalescing into a silhouette of memories swirling around us like a tempest. I recognized the faces of my relatives as they advanced toward us, fragments of a tattered narrative poised on the edge of rediscovery. As the memories crystallized, I caught the essence of that long-ago Christmas dinner, the pristine white tablecloth stark against the burnished oak, the rich aroma of feast wafting through the air, and joyous carols bloomed from the radio. Yet beneath the jubilance, there was a palpable tension, the kind that coiled tightly around the room as tightly as the ribbons that adorned the presents, but there was more a glimmer of hidden sorrow lurking beneath the surface. Grandfather's voice carried, a concerned inquiry breaking through a cacophony of clinking glasses. "Did you enjoy our new home?" His question hung heavily in the air, becoming the catalyst for an eruption of buried emotions. Unbeknownst to me, as I stood amidst the echoes, the present had begun to weave its threads tighter around my pulse, igniting the flame of courage. "We need to listen to their voices," I urged, the resolve creeping into my heart. "If this family is to heal, we have to hear what they didn't say." But as I focused on their expressions, a truth bore down with disarming intensity. I saw not just joy reflected on their faces, but glimmers of fear and regret, the memories trapped inside their laughter. Confusion twisted in my gut. I had grown up believing that love could vanquish all, yet here lay a paradox so profoundly woven into the fibers of my family. A sudden pulse of energy moved between us, like a flickering flame caught in the wind, and from the depths of the shadows, a familiar voice emerged, a beloved aunt long lost to misunderstandings. "Did you really think the happiness you felt was unfettered?" Her eyes were piercing, yet laced with compassion. "We built walls not to hide our love, but to shield you from each other's pain." That I blinked, new revelations crashing in tidal waves. Maybe the laughter that I held dear was made of whispers rooted in unspoken grief. Just then, amidst the swirling shadows, I felt the comforting weight of Max's small body pressing against mine, grounding me in the present. "That we need to invite their truths into the light," I voiced, pulling on the threads of my courage, determination sparking into life. None of this was just a dark remnant of the past. What if the ghostly specters loomed not just to haunt us but to guide us toward understanding? Max's hand trembled against mine. I felt his courage fanning my resolve, igniting something that had lain dormant for too long. "We can do it together," I reassured him. "We will find the pain and the joy unsaid and bring it all to the table. There's healing in confronting the past." The shadows shivered with mirth, transforming again, this time presenting the jovial spirits of family, the air thick with unresolved tension. The figure of my grandfather loomed large amidst them, casting a long shadow over the festive scene. My breath caught in my throat as the moment of honesty might finally arrive. As if sensing the shift, the spectre lunged into action. "Elise," he called, his voice hesitant yet fervent. "You will see what you never suspected." In that heartbeat, the clamor of earlier festivities faded, eclipsed by a profound silence that hung uncomfortably in the air. Gasps of recognition whispered through the gathering shadows, revealing faces once treasured, now rendered unrecognizable in the weight of unspoken truths. Just then, a flicker of light bounced off a forgotten ornament, illuminating a page of an ancient family journal that lay beneath the shimmering decorations. The words glistened, fragments of memories waiting to be unearthed, revealing not only familial joy but depths of anguish that had long lingered unseen. "Join us, Elise," the figure beckoned, eyes glinting with the weight of untold secrets. "Revelations await, the truths that will shape your purpose and guide you into the future." My heart raced as if on the very precipice of discovery, the moment of truth fast approaching, but also a teetering cliff that could plunge us into despair. I glanced at Max, who nodded, an unspoken promise binding us together. And just as I took a step forward, a violent crack tore through the air like thunder, a harbinger of storms to come. The very fabric of the moment began to unravel, turning the echoes into a tempest once more. "Will you dare to see the unraveling?" The figure taunted, shadows swirling around us. Or will you retreat into the comfort of laughter whilst the truths which shaped you remain buried until their relentless grip pulls you under? My breath caught, bitterness coiling tightly within me. A storm raged in my heart, a longing to delve into the uncharted territory of truth clashing with the instinctive urge to flee the specters of pain, and just as uncertainty hung palpably in the air, a voice broke through the chaos, soft yet undeniably profound. Elise, it whispered yet echoed within my soul, sometimes the greatest gifts lie hidden in the sadness. As realization dawned, the shadows groaned, and I felt the force of ancestral ties clawing at my very being, refusing to release their hold. I was caught in the crossroads between the past and the flicker of hope, trembling on the brink of revelation, summoned forth to dance within the shadows of my family's legacy, where joy and sorrow intertwined in a web meant to be unraveled. That I took a step forward, heart racing with every fraction of courage swelling within. Time froze, and as the darkness loomed nearer, a shocking revelation flickered at the edge of my Mindan, unraveling so great it could transform our family forever. And as I braced myself for what would be revealed, I knew it was a threshold I had to cross, not just for me, but for Max, for us all, for the time had come. The darkness began to fracture as I stepped closer, my body trembling with anticipation. Each shadow, each flickering memory bled into one another like colors on a canvas fighting to be acknowledged. The tension crackled around me, and I saw the faces of my family emerge, shapes shifting within the fog, each a part of a tapestry woven from both joy and sorrow. I felt the pulse of love and pain entwining, the very essence of what it meant to belong to a family. Face it, my grandfather's voice urged again, a familiar yet distant echo in the dark. Face what we have built and what we have hidden. With every stride, I grasped the threads of the memories I had overlooked, the laughter mingled with unspoken fears, betrayals that had cast shadows over our gatherings, always existing just beneath the joy. What do you want from us? I shouted at the swirling shadows, desperate for clarity amidst the chaos. The air thickened, and suddenly the familiar scent of cinnamon and pine wafted through, a ghost of Christmas past intertwining with the present. We want to be known, my mother's soft voice called out. We want the truth to reclaim the light. A figure stepped forward, taking on my mother's countenance. The warmth of her spirit shone brightly against the encroaching darkness, tears prickled at my eyes, and I took a deep breath, shaking the fear from my spine. Then tell me, I urged, casting aside the shackles of uncertainty that bound me. Tell me what we didn't say. The shadows shifted again, reassembling the scene from that fateful Christmas dinner, where laughter once flourished but also birthed silent divides. My grandfather stood there, his eyes reflecting heartache. This home carries the echoes of what we were too afraid to voice. Do you remember? The thrill of joy, yet the hidden glances. Suddenly, I felt the chill of vulnerability wrap around me, an invisible weight that hung just above the shoulders of my family, a shared burden I longed to understand. Because we were afraid, my voice trembled, recalling the hushed whispers, the deeper fears, the devastation that lingered like a fog. Afraid of what lay buried beneath. Correct, Elise, came that haunting voice again, but now dripping with something far softer than mockery. Each of you bore your own fears of losing what you love, of disappointment, of never being enough. I locked eyes with Max, who stood steadfast, our connection weaving us tighter as he began to grasp the landscape of our family ties and fractures. We carry these fears like a heavy cloak, I confessed, feeling the strength of my resolve solidify further. But we can unburden ourselves if we acknowledge the truth. The air shimmered as I felt a shift inside of me. This was not just some haunting. This was a rallying call for acceptance, understanding, and, ultimately, forgiveness. The darkness quivered in response, shadows raining like ashes as the figures flickered before us, each a story begging to be told. Then let us be brave, I declared, finding courage in the memories fueling my heart. Let us share our stories, not just of joy but of sorrow. Will you allow the past to return? The figure whispered, leaning forward. It felt like an invitation, but the very darkness of the questions themselves tugged at my core. Would we be strong enough to listen? Together, Max shouted suddenly, his small voice soaring above the weight of despair. We can face it together. Together, I affirmed, standing resolute. Let the past reclaim its voice. The very air around us vibrated as a kaleidoscope of memories began to swirl, colors blending and coalescing into a brilliant tapestry of familial truth. The shadows shifted, and one by one, my relatives emerged not just remnants of the past, but as living embodiments of love and heartache, stretching across generations. Their features glistened, capturing the very weight of lessons learned, battles fought, and ultimately love that endured. Participants not merely of a struggling history but architects of our very future. Let us remember the voices of joy, my grandfather urged, stepping forward. But do not ignore the echoes of pain. They are chapters that need closure. And with that, as if spurred on by our collective determination, those shadows unfurled, revealing stories untold. We witnessed my grandmother's laughter blended with tears, secrets carefully tucked away like stained lace. We glimpsed my father's childlike dreams submerged beneath the weight of unfulfilled promises. Each thread, a reminder that our past shaped us but did not define us. Forgive. Rose a crisp whisper from my mother's figure, her eyes shimmering with gentle understanding. Forgive yourselves for what you couldn't say, for what you didn't want to feel. Tears streamed down my cheeks as I felt the shards of pain begin to melt away. The darkness that once gripped my heart was now softened, replaced by raw vulnerability. I heard the whispers of truth gathering like a stream bursting free from a dam, revealing stories I had hidden, secrets tucked away inside that shaped the very essence of who I was, and suddenly, I understood the revelations that washed over me were not just echoes of the past. They were blueprints of healing that beckoned us to rediscover our paths, to weave our separate stories into a tapestry vibrant with acceptance, compassion, and the promise of unity. Will you forgive what has been? The figure beckoned through the collective shadows, now beginning to dissipate, offering us insight wrapped in love and patience. Yes, I breathed, feeling the weight of centuries lift from my chest. Yes, I will. Max stepped closer, his resolve fierce. We will. Well, share it all. And in that one sweet moment, it became clear, healing doesn't come from erasing the past but from embracing the threads of both joy and sorrow, weaving them into a new narrative, a story of resilience and hope. As the shadows faded into the dawn, light spilled across our home, illuminating a familiar space infused with heartfelt memories newly awakened. The laughter no longer tinged with fear or resentment filled the air like a symphony resounding through the trees, dances of joy clouding past heartache. And standing there, with my family gathered around, I felt whole again. I felt our stories stitched together, a soft embrace surrounding us in warmth and acceptance. In that moment, under the embrace of a new dawn, I recognized an undeniable truth: love, as it turns out, isn't measured by the absence of pain but by the courage to embrace the whole story. Together, I whispered, my heart swelling amid shards of light as I turned to my family, we can build a new home. And finally, with hope igniting in my soul, I understood that sometimes the most profound journeys, those that were once cloaked in darkness, lead directly to the warmth and love that light our way to belonging once more. And with that thought, I sealed the moment, imprinting it in my heart forever.